Evening and welcome to another exciting adventure of Pmbc Littleton. It's 7 o'clock. I'm calling the meeting to order. The first order of business is to review the warrant. The warrant consists of 4 invoices, all from Vertex, and unfortunately they're all kind of past due. Somehow they got lost in the ether. So the first invoice is for the police station. It's $810 from April. Second invoice is $1,400. That's from February. That's for the police station. Third invoice is for $675 from March, and that's also the police station. And then we have a March invoice for Vertex for $5,737.50 for the library, for a total of $8,622.50. Any questions, discussion?
You need a motion, Steve?
I do.
I make a motion that we accept and pay the warrant article of $8,622.50.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Roll call vote.
Bob Romley, yes.
Mike
Brian
Scudetto,
Pasquale, yes.
Steve Moore, yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Then we have we need to approve the minutes of June 12th. As corrected, I did have one additional correction, which I will go over with Marilyn since she's not here. But it's on page 2 where it says we need to issue a notice to proceed on Monday for the design and construction of $75,000. Should be design and construction administrative fees. So I'll go with Marilyn and make that correction. Were there any other corrections? Do I have a motion to approve as amended?
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, roll call vote.
Bob Romley, yes.
Mike Scudetto, yes.
Brian Pasquale, yes.
Steve Moore, yes. Thank you very much. Next we have a police station update, and I see Brian has joined us. So Brian, if you can give us a bit of an update.
Sure. Thanks for having me. Did you say you want to start on the police first?
Please, yeah.
Yep. So we've had some good updates on the police since the last time that we've met. We've given our notice to proceed to CBI for construction documents. We currently have a call with them on Friday afternoon at noon to make sure that they're still on track for that. They have a pretty aggressive schedule so that we don't fall into the same problem with the mortar that we were in originally. So right now we're scheduled to have our review of the 75% construction documents on the 8th of July, and we'll be putting out the documents in the central register shortly thereafter. We'll be working with them and creating the budget and the alternates to go with it to make sure that we maintain the number that's been approved for us at a town meeting. Just before this meeting too, and Steve or maybe someone at the PMBC can help, he has some asking on some of the O&M manuals that were from the original construction. Does the town have any access to those? I know that they were sparse at the police station themselves, but this would be for
We lost you, Brian.
some of the actual product that was used in the original construction. Is there anyone back that far?
Bob, do you have any access to O&M manuals at the police station?
I believe they're all in the that office that we were in that time, Steve, the small meeting room.
Yeah.
I think they're in the cabinets there. If that's where, what they're looking for.
So, yeah,
It could be something as small as a single product data sheet. Sorry, am I breaking up?
a little bit, yeah.
Sorry about that.
These were all loose leaf notebooks, Brian, with all the different items that were used in there.
Yeah. If it's even just a product sheet, that might help.
You're
Try to
still
jump
breaking
out.
up, Brian. Bob can make arrangements for CBI to get in there and take a look.
Okay, I shut my video off in case maybe it was taking the bandwidth, and if you guys can hear me now.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So if you can work with Bob to work with the police station to get them access, that'd be great.
Definitely. I think the goal for when we review the 75% CD drawings will be really making sure that the logistics plan is figured out for when a contractor's on site during an active police station. So we'll make sure that the chief's questions and concerns are heard and made sure that the specs are pretty airtight for that. So when there is someone on site, there's very little interruption to operations.
Terrific.
Brian, how soon do you need that?
He just asked me about 15 minutes ago, so I can reach out to the chief as well. We can see what's contained in that. He can give, maybe send me a picture of what's in that closet, and I can take a ride up in the next day or two.
Yeah. I won't be around after tonight, so
Okay,
it wouldn't be until next week for me, unless you just get a hold of the chief.
sure. I'll do that tomorrow.
All right. The next order of business under the police station is to vote on the RFP for the OPM services. I sent the information out on the contract. The original contract was never executed. So phase 1 of the work has been completed. Phase 2 of the work is a not to exceed $73,050. Vertex is going to be utilizing and Brian, correct me if I'm misspeaking, but Vertex is going to utilize the clerk of the works at the library to oversee the police station work to give us some economy of scale in the OPM services.
Yeah, that's correct. I believe with the job at this size for the police station, I think it would really benefit the town for us to have, to not have full-time oversight there. And if we can do it as such that while they're doing outside work at the library, he can spend some time down at the police station making sure that masonry work is going well at the same time. So I think we feel that would be the best bet for the town.
So any discussion on that?
I think it's great.
I think it makes the most economic sense for the town.
Yeah, we've done it before and saved. This is a terrific way to Vertex helping us meet the different budgets we have.
So I'll need a motion to authorize PMBC to prepare and provide Vertex with a notice to proceed in the amount of $73,000, not to exceed $73,000.
Correct. Yeah, I just wanted to say that caveat. It is a not to exceed. So it's based upon a clerk services for 20 hours a week. And that's actually based upon if all of the alternates were picked up. So
Right.
in the event that alternates are not picked up, that is based upon half time, which may not even be used at that point. So.
Right.
So Brian, what you're calling the clerk, that's the same as it's just tagged as an APM in the proposal, right? That's the same person we're talking about.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So can I get a motion to approve, recommend approval of $73,000, not to exceed $73,050 for OPM services for the police station?
Sure. So moved, or unless
Second.
Bob wants to do it.
Second it.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor, roll call vote?
Bob Romley, yes.
Richard Crowley, yes.
Mike Scaduto, yes.
Brian Pasquale, yes.
Steve Moore, yes. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Great.
Library update. Brian, you're on.
Sure. We've actually got some movement on site now since the last time we met. Our notice to proceed was issued to the Commodore builders for their maximum price of $12,142,755, which is inclusive of all of the pre-construction work they've done to date. The town and Vertex are currently working with the contract amendment that's being drafted right now. Steve, I had a conversation with Phil Balboni about some of the assumptions and qualifications that we had some issues with.
Okay.
I'm just going to, whenever you get a chance tomorrow, I'll be around. We can talk a couple of those through just so that my response to Phil is in line with what you think about some of the lead items that we had talked about.
Yeah, everything's required, but I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sure. And if you guys have been in the back parking lot, you probably see that some of the mobilization has happened. The site contractor has been given the notice to proceed as well for some land clearing, some erosion control, and site temporary fence to be installed. We had a good call with Joseph and some of the department heads about said temp fencing, and we've tried to work through as many conflicts that we've had so far. So that fencing should be coming by the end of the week. I'm going to try to get up there myself as well to make sure that there's less impact in the ball field, as well as the exits that was a concern out of the tennis courts now with the pandemic concerns.
So I was out there at noontime or somewhere around. It was maybe a little later. It was pouring rain.
Yep.
The fence is up. They were starting removing trees. The trailer is there. I met with Joe Tachi in the trailer. They're putting up plan tables. They're moving ahead fairly quickly.
Great. I actually wasn't aware the trailer had showed up today. I talked with them this morning, and they didn't indicate that yet. So
Yeah.
All right, that's great. So
And we had conversations with Littleton Electric. Their initial invoice to us or proposal for temporary service was a little over $5,000. I ended up talking to Pat Lafferty. Joe, I know you had conversations with LELD also.
Yep.
The electric department is waiving or donating, let's put it that way, all labor and equipment charges so that the total charge to the project should be around $1,500. We had $25,000 as an estimate for temporary utilities, and so that'll be a good cost savings.
yeah, so that was really great and much appreciated by the project, by Steve and Joe to help those communication lines on lowering that invoice. I know that we will have a few other back charges, including water and some of the sewer engineering that needed to be done to hook up to the sewer line out there. So that whatever we can keep under that 25,000 placeholder can go back into our contingency, which is great.
Brian, are we going to have to get cable into that trailer too?
No, they've already communicated with Comcast at this point, so they'll have their own service that's going directly to the trailer.
Okay.
So Joe, something that we're going to need some help from you on, I think. There's an existing security camera on a pole out there in the parking lot.
Okay.
That pole comes down. We don't know who owns or controls that camera, but
Right.
if you want it reinstalled temporarily during construction, we just need to find out who to coordinate that with.
Right.
I'll check with our IT director. I do know that the camera is active, gets used. We do use it, so she probably knows best way that we can then make arrangements for relocating it.
Is that Nancy?
Nancy.
Okay. So I can reach out to her as well. We worked with her on the fire department, and so in the project documents, the electrician or Griffin Electric is going to have to. They take down the pole, and they're also in charge of making the connections to the other poles that aren't being demolished at the time. So I'm sure it won't be much. If Nancy wants to relocate that camera, we can find a place for it.
And also, because we don't have all the documentation finalized for the requirements of the fire department, we can't get a building permit right yet, but Ed has issued a permit for the foundation.
Correct. Yeah, the fire department review with Deputy Chief Clancy, he's asked for a few more days in order to finish his review because there was some tweaks that needed to be done to the civil drawings. Those drawings have been issued, but they still want to take a few more days to review. So in the interim, our foundation permit has been issued and Cataldo has been given the green light to begin our site work. We also had our walkthrough with Concom, which went well as well, to show the limits of where the knotweed removal will go and where the buffer zones are for the wetlands.
And Brian provided a notification to the abutter next door, along with the 3-week look ahead. So hopefully that will inform him as to what's going on. I don't know if you've heard from him, Brian.
I have not, no. And if we get some positive feedback on that, I have no problem providing him with a high-level 3-week on a weekly basis.
Okay.
It's good to be good neighbors throughout the project. So,
Yeah.
That's Brad Mitchell, Steve.
What's that?
That's Brad Mitchell, the next door neighbor. Or
Oh,
the
do you
neighbor
know him?
behind, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Well, you've just become the appointed liaison.
Well, this is the one that's behind. This isn't the one with the driveway issue.
Okay. We'll talk.
Yeah.
the last thing I had for an update is I'm currently, due to the MBLC financing and the grant monies as well, I'll be working with Sam Alvarez right now for providing the MBLC reporting that they require on a monthly basis. That kind of goes through some of the town's accounting, where we stand with the grant money, and ultimately when we'll be able to apply for the next reimbursement of that grant. So if anyone needs to see those reports, I can hand those out as well, but it's pretty high level and pretty standard. We'll get those out monthly.
All right. And I think lastly, maybe we'll ask Mark to talk about the groundbreaking.
Yeah, so we're going to hold a groundbreaking ceremony on July 9th at 4 p.m. Flyers will be coming out in the next couple days, so everyone should get theirs. On the subject of the grant, I believe we have received or will be shortly receiving the second payment.
Yes.
From MBLC. So it's the quote-unquote checks in the mail, I believe.
Yep.
And I found it interesting, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but this is the second payment within a year, but the grant doesn't guarantee annual payments. It just guarantees
5 years.
payment in 5 years. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Mark, one question I had for you regarding the groundbreaking. I don't believe you were on the email. There was just a couple suggestions we had on there in case you hadn't thought of for invitees, including the MBLC chair. From the state.
Sam already reached out to Lauren, so
great.
someone's going to, yeah.
Perfect.
So if you had anything, Brian, send it to me when we're done with this, because we're going to put together a flyer to send out hopefully tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then by Friday.
I'm actually holding, this was from the Medford Library groundbreaking that we did a couple months ago. So just to, I can send that to you, what they had handed out to people. So
Perfect.
Do you guys have the, in Medford, do they invite the state treasurer too?
yes. Yeah, they had, it was quite a,
We're hoping to keep it short and sweet.
a political showing. Yeah. This was also pre-COVID as well, so.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anything else library related?
No, I think we're good.
Great.
So since Caroline's on the line, I'm going to sneak in Houghton Building, if Rich and Caroline, you want to talk about that?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Carolyn, so you're not around Friday. It looks like the painter came in today. Is that?
No, he didn't. He didn't
did
come
not.
in. No, I texted him at 5 o'clock to find out why, and I haven't heard from him. So
Yeah.
whether he had a family emergency, I don't know. But at 8 o'clock this morning, he thanked me for leaving the door open. So I don't know what happened.
Okay. Well, we'll have to keep tabs on him. He's like 95% done. Some touch up, and that's probably
That's the
days.
frustrating thing is he figures if he can bring his helper with him, he probably could be done in one day. But
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be today. So I wanted to just let you know we don't have to meet.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
And will you be back in touch with him, or you want me to get?
I did. No, I texted him at 5 and I just said, geez, I hope everything is okay. And asked him, it looks like he didn't make it to Littleton. Are we on schedule for early next week, which is what he had told me originally.
Perfect. Okay. Well, we'll just
And
keep in touch then.
I'll let you guys know when I hear from him.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks. DPW roof update. We got a text from, or an email from Chris Stoddard this morning. Bottom line is they're about 6 months behind schedule because of COVID issues and, bending materials and there's a plethora of things. But at any rate, they're about 6 months behind schedule. Okay, the next item is member input. Bob, anything?
I'm all set, Steve.
Mike,
I'm good.
Brian?
The only thing I wanted to mention, excuse me, on the Shaker Lane lights,
All right.
Littleton baseball and softball, I think we all kind of thought it was headed this way, but after they got all the pricing in for the install, he confirmed that it probably puts him about a good 12 months behind where he thought he might be. So he said no earlier than next spring he would be able to do it. And obviously that depends on their fundraising efforts.
Sure.
So.
Okay, thanks. Rich, anything?
Yeah, I was just wondering what the status was with the school committee rep. Will we continue to have one, even though we don't have a school project in front of us?
Oh, well, yeah, we will. But that's a good segue into my input. I wanted to recognize Darrell Baker for his years of service on this committee. He put together a spreadsheet that, told us what our budget was, what our remaining balance was. He really got us on track financially, working with, the finance people in town.
That's
and
great.
He also set up a filing system on the town server on the OneDrive, so we can file our put our files there so they're available to everybody.
That's
So,
great.
Yeah, I unfortunately I haven't started to use it, but the filing system and the structure is there. And he was just a great member, and in some way I'd like to have this committee commemorate his tenure on this committee, and we can talk about that maybe at the next meeting.
Okay, that sounds good. I agree. I think that's a great idea, Steve.
Yeah. And then my last item is, I think most of us are working remotely. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but the purpose of this meeting starting at 7 o'clock was, in the old days, this meeting would last at least 2 hours. Bob remembers that. Richie remembers that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
At least 2 hours.
Sometimes longer.
Sometimes longer, right? So, so I'm wondering, is there any interest in starting this meeting, say, kind of shortly after the business day, maybe at 5:30, since our meetings only last about half an hour?
Idea.
I'd
I'm
shoot
just
for-
throwing that out there.
Shoot for 5 o'clock, Steve?
I mean, 5 would be fine with me. How about you guys?
It'll work until August.
What's that?
It'll work for me until August.
Well,
Have to go back. Yeah.
quite frankly, this is going to be an interim thing until we get
Yep.
back to normal. So, while we're working through this Zoom meeting, I think, because I'm usually done by 5 o'clock, and, wait around for 2 hours for this meeting is kind of a, what do I do in between type of thing. So,
I think it's a great idea. 5 or 5:30 works for me.
how about you,
Yeah.
Brian?
If it's only in the interim until, we're back to meeting face to face, that's fine with me.
So how about if I set the next meeting up for 5:30?
Sure.
Does that work?
Okay.
So until further notice, we'll start meeting at 5:30.
Great.
Great.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Steve.
So hearing, since I was the last member update, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Bob Romley, yes?
Mike
Rich
Scudetto,
Crowley,
yes.
yes.
Steve Moore, yes.
Well, yes.
Thanks for your participation, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Steve.
Great.